Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
Suicide is the second leading cause of death among teenagers, according to a new report out today. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. The report is from the American Academy of Pediatrics, and it urges pediatricians to screen teenagers for suicide risks. Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop dug into the report and talked with teenagers about whether their doctors are doing enough.
It's not a most common subject. I feel like it should be more because with the suicide rates these days.
In 2007, suicide was the third leading cause of death for teens ages 15 to 19 years old. It has now moved towards the second. The first cause is unintentional injuries, such as crashes. The American Academy of Pediatrics is publishing updated guidelines to help doctors on how to identify and help at-risk teens. 19-year-old Danielle Lanou says her doctor has asked her about depression and suicide in the past.
I feel like they should ask you more like how you're feeling, like not, like are you depressed and stuff. Just be like, are you feeling okay? Like, how are you doing? And I feel like they're just very robotic about the questions.
But I think there's always a way of going about asking questions, because you can't come off in the wrong way, and it might actually inflict more pain on somebody.
There is no universal requirement for suicide screenings of youth. Some of the guidelines the report states is that teens should be interviewed away from their parents, and some teens are more likely to disclose information via forms than in person.
Some doctors certainly ask youth about symptoms of depression, and then if they screen in for depression, they may move on to questions about suicide. There's no standard method that is being used in all settings.
Trainer says suicide is the second leading cause of death for North Dakota teens. In Fargo, Ashley Bishop, Valley News Live.
The study also found that bullying and internet use, such as social media, can be risk factors for teenagers committing suicide. If you or someone you know is thinking about suicide, call the suicide helpline at 1-800-273-8255. A viewer captures video as a vacant home in downtown Detroit Lakes is engulfed in flames. It happened shortly before 1 this afternoon and damaged the home. Crews were called to 1007 McKinley Avenue, which is about a block south of Highway 10. We're told the house was slated to be torn down and replaced with a car wash for the Holiday gas station that's across the street. Valley News Team's Giovanna Simic is at the scene and joins us live with more. Giovanna, what can you tell us?
Thanks, Andrea. As you saw and as our viewers saw from that video, the fire was very large that the Detroit Lakes Fire Department needed assistance from Frazee and Audubon Fire Departments. Now, it took crews about 45 minutes to get rid of the fire, to extinguish the fire, and they left the scene completely about 10 minutes ago. And they had to close down the main intersection here, Frazee Street and McKinley Avenue, because they wanted to take safety because of the fire and protect the people. No one was injured, and as you mentioned, the house is being torn down to build a car wash for the Holiday station across the street. I did speak with a man who was here on first hand, and I will have that for you guys on Valley News Live 10 at 10. Reporting live in Detroit Lakes, Giovanna Simic, Valley News Live.
All right, thank you, Giovanna. The state fire marshal has been called in to investigate the cause of the fire. We have new information to report. A wrongful death lawsuit has been filed against a Richland County Sheriff's Deputy, Jason Weber. Tammy and John Sadek filed it after their son, Andrew, was found dead. He had a gunshot to his head and a backpack full of rocks tied to him. He was working as an informant for Southeast North Dakota Drug Task Force, or SEMCA. The Sadek family lawyers say that Deputy Sheriff Weber was the person who recruited Andrew to be a confidential informant. The Sadek family says they want answers, and their son's death investigation is going nowhere. Also new to report, charges have been filed in a missing child case that could also be linked to the death of a Bemidji, Minnesota woman last week. Jacob Kinn has been charged with kidnapping. He could also face murder charges after a woman's body was found in a Bemidji home after a fire. 5-year-old Brittany Blaser was believed to be at the house at the time of the fire and then disappeared shortly after. She was later found in a pop-up camper near Big Fork, Minnesota. That's about 80 miles north of Bemidji. Kinn is being held on $500,000 bond with conditions or $1 million without conditions. The Fargo Police Department says with a change in leadership came a change in how they pursue drugs in the city. And that's evident as 20 search warrants were filed in Cass County on Friday. The majority of them are drug-related, outlining controlled drug buys, utilizing criminal informants, and talking about organizations like the Gangster Disciples. We'll have more from the Fargo Police Department coming up on Valley News Live at 6. You can bet people in a South Fargo neighborhood are paying extra attention to strangers who may be passing through tonight. Fargo police have nearly a dozen reports of the work of vandals in the Greenfields and Davies neighborhoods. Most of it is already cleaned up, but the vandals sprayed swastikas and other offensive messages on cars, mailboxes, and fences. Investigators are trying to determine whether or not these incidents are simply random vandalism or if it might actually be a hate crime.
There's nothing that leads us to a suspect, which is a little bit problematic. I mean, obviously, we take this type of an offense seriously. However, it's not the first time that we've seen white supremacist type markings. Whether they're legitimate or not is really the question.
Police say it's also unclear the ethnicities of the victims. With cooler temps, our air conditioners are getting a much-needed break today. Here's Robert Hahn with a look at tonight's forecast. Robert?
Yeah, a refreshing day for this time here across the region with current temperatures still only in the 60s and 70s. Lots of sunshine after some early morning clouds, and we'll see some mostly clear skies tonight. Another very cool night with some areas dipping down into the 40s. Right now, 66 in Langdon, 65 in Bemidji, 72 here in Fargo, 73 in Sisseton. Winds have been northerly today, around 5 to 15 miles per hour with some occasional stronger gusts. They'll become light and variable tonight and remain on the light side as we head through your Tuesday. Just a few clouds remaining out there, and again, we'll see some mostly clear skies as we head through this evening and into the overnight hours. Tomorrow, return to lots of sunshine once again, and tomorrow a bit warmer with hardly a cloud in the sky, no precipitation out there. Here in Fargo, as we head through the rest of the evening, a very nice evening. Those winds will slowly subside as we head through the 7, 8, and 9 o'clock hour, and those temperatures will start to dip on down into the mid-60s by 9. We bottom out around 50 here in Fargo, but we warm up nicely as we head through your Tuesday afternoon. How warm do we get, and when's the next storm chance show up? We'll let you know the answers to those questions coming up.
With the recent humidity, a lot of people today were saying, hey, this is kind of nice.
It's really nice out there.
Thanks, Robert. Last summer, Washington Post reporter Christopher Ingram created an uproar after publishing an article that Red Lake County, Minnesota, was the worst place to live in the country. It was based on government data related to climate and scenery. However, as Valley News Live's Neil Carlson shows us, Ingram has packed up his family in Washington, D.C. and now calls Red Lake County home.
After calling Red Lake County one of the worst places in the country to live and receiving a lot of criticism for his article, Ingram accepted an invitation to visit Red Lake Falls last summer. His entire family decided to move here last month.
Just the warmth that they met me with when all they knew of me was I was some jerk from D.C. who had written this kind of, not very nice thing about them. So there was that, and then, this whole thing that my wife and I have talked about for a long time of wanting to spend more time with the kids.
The price of houses here is 4 to 5 times less than the D.C. area. It's enabled his wife, Brianna, to quit her job with the Social Security Administration, spend more time with their 2 boys, and the entire family can live off one paycheck from the Washington Post.
Out here, the house is double the size pretty much than what we had in Maryland, and I can, stay home with the boys. It's if we were going to do that in Maryland, we would have had to have moved or done something else.
And technology allows Ingram to continue working for the Washington Post, reporting on all kinds of government data stories.
I write about guns a lot. So this is actually an interesting place to write about guns and gun policy because there's a very strong gun culture here. So it's a very different context to be writing about guns from than, say, the D.C. area where, most people don't have guns versus you come out here and a lot of people do have them. They're just a part of life out here. So it's an interesting backdrop to study some of these things.
From Red Lake Falls, Minnesota, Neil Carlson, Valley News Live.
One of Ingram's most recent articles for the Washington Post says that Minnesota is the best place in the country to raise children. We have a link to it. Just go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story. 3,600 people have now signed an online petition that protests UND's new logo. The Change.org petition was started by Sarah Wallace of Killdeer, North Dakota. The petition states in part, this petition is not about returning to the Sioux name. This petition is about the complete mishandling of creating a new logo. The petition goes on to urge supporters to reclaim our university and allow a local artist to create the logo. However, interim UND President Ed Schaefer points out there are over 100,000 alumni, so a very small percentage have actually signed the petition.
It seems to me that most of the people who are signing this petition are signing it with a logo in front of them that carries on from the Fighting Sioux logo. We will stick with what we have unless there is some the overriding factor that's put on the table that makes some sense for the university moving forward.
The petition organizer says she'll submit the petition to Schaefer when they reach 5,000 signatures. It's bringing unity to your body, mind, and community. FOGA stands for Fargo Organization Giving Through Asana. It's an event being put on throughout the summer to promote yoga while raising money for local causes. This Wednesday, all are encouraged to join in, no matter the experience.
I tell them, come and join us and do what you can. Modify as you need to and just have fun with it.
The event will start at 6 p.m. at the Downtown Y outside at Island Park. This time, the money raised will benefit the Y's Partner of Youth annual campaign.